In roughly 1990, before I'd actually graduated from TCU, I'd had a series of bouts with kidney stones. In kidney failure, and you are not dialyzed, you can die in a matter of 4 to 6 weeks. I was born and raised in Fort Worth. I grew up on the north side, went across town to Pascal High School where I met Hazel.
I went to Tanglewood Elementary, went to McLean Middle School, and then in Pascal was where I got to meet John. Went to Southwestern Seminary so I could become a chaplain.
By the time we got to TCU, we were pretty certain we weren't going to see much of each other.
That very first day of class, Monday at 8 a.m., it was like, oh my word, yay, there's somebody I know. We'd meet up at games or other things, lunch all the time in the student center, all the time.
Moved to Austin, which is where I was most comfortable, and continued living there up until I became ill.
We did lose touch around 93, 94, especially when he moved to Austin and I was still in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
2001, I had surgery in Austin to remove scar tissue from the surgery I'd had in 1991. After a battery of tests, prior to the surgery, I was advised by my physicians that my left kidney had stopped working altogether, but that the right kidney was still functioning well. Sunday afternoon, I experienced a nosebleed. And it started out innocent enough until both nostrils started to bleed, and I was bleeding profusely for an hour. Contacted a friend of mine who was a nurse, and immediately took me to the nearest hospital, where I was told that I had kidney insufficiency, mild heart attack, and congestive heart failure. My physician decided at the time that he would go ahead and run a series of tests and blood work. So it was at that point I received a call from his nurse. She said that I needed to go to the emergency room immediately. And I kept asking why, and she was very evasive. And finally I said, I need to talk to the doctor. The doctor gets on the phone and he finally tells me that I was in renal failure, which at that time, my kidney, at that point I only had a right kidney, was at 11%. I had to go and have a shunt inserted into my chest so that way they could start dialysis immediately. And by immediately, I mean the day that I had the shunt put in, 2 hours later, I was having my first dialysis treatment because the case was so severe that they thought I was going to die or could die at any point in time.
It was about June of 2010. John actually got on Facebook. That's how we got reconnected, and John said, hey, I'm coming up to Fort Worth for the weekend. Let's see if we can get some people from Pascal Band and let's go do dinner over at Mama's Pizza. As we sat there for dinner, we were all like, well, where have you been? What have you been doing the past? So we're each telling a bit of our story, and that's when John let us know that he was having a lot of health issues.
Everyone was just very interested and very caring. Even just them being there and showing the emotion and support that they did was plenty, without even saying a word.
I knew more about what he was saying than the others in the room. He was using language that I understood. I understood the medical terms, and I also understood what he wasn't saying. Later that night, when others were leaving, we were in the parking lot. That's when I said to him, when you're ready, I'm your donor.
I pretty much discounted it. I just didn't see that as a possibility. A number of coworkers, a number of friends went out and got tested. One by one, they were rejected.
So I sent in the paperwork in July. They sent me an email, and all it said was, please contact us. So I called and said, hi, I got an email. And they said, you're a compatible match. Okay, say it again. What? So we're gonna tell John? And they said, well, we were gonna call him. I said, no, that's my phone call.
Hazel calls me and I had just missed her call. I knew what the call was about.
I knew that he was scared. I knew that he had had a dozen other people give him the bad news phone call.
Called her back immediately and made small talk. Really didn't want to talk about what the news was going to be.
I was bursting. I just wanted to scream it, but I also knew how he was hearing it on his side.
I'm trying to wrap up the conversation.
So I said, I want you to know that I just got off the phone
Then my knees kind of buckled a little bit, and I thought, well, here it goes.
and I am your compatible match.
I was in shock, and I said, no, you're not.
I am your compatible match. And so Thursday morning, we arrived at the hospital 5 o'clock, I think. It was crazy early. Okay, let's go find out what surgery's like.
My sister-in-law, I guess, kind of trying to distract me from what was going to happen, said, well, why don't you put the Horned Frog sign up?
We got pictures taken. We were very sore.
My quality of life is outstanding. I don't have bad days. I used to have no good days. Those are gone.
The word began to go around athletics and other areas that there was this story. Then today, we were able to go before the game, get onto the field. When the captains were walking onto the field, we also walked onto the field, and the announcer over the PA system told our story.
I felt like my friend deserved the recognition. She's a hero in every sense of the word. I think, honestly, if somebody else that I knew had been a match, I'm not so sure I'd be here today. I'm not so sure that they would have gone through it. I made a commitment to my friend when she made a commitment to me that she was giving me her kidney. And I said, I will take care of this kidney.
Mine just gets bigger.